series, I speak with 8 incredible thinkers in Africa, people working to solve complex challenges across the board. We discuss the civic space in Africa, the physical and online spaces where people come together to exercise their rights in shaping our societies. The civic space is important because it provides everyone with an opportunity to contribute to a thriving, inclusive society. Join us for these diverse topics, from ensuring technology positively serves society to ensuring that communities come together to increase women and youth's participation in decision making. A lot of African founders will be listening to this podcast. Yeah. What advice would you give to them about leaving an organization to thrive after you've created it?
That's a tough one. I have to be honest with you, it's a tough one. And the reason why it's a tough one, there was a point in my life when I realized how difficult it is for you to create an organization, especially in the social space, because you have to bear in mind that social entrepreneurs create this thing that they believe would change the world. So it's almost like their baby. It's not about generating money or returns for themselves. It's about changing society. And they put their whole into building it. Moving on from it can be extremely difficult. So I was actually going to start a podcast research series that we were going to call Social Innovators Dilemma, which was how do you start something like a CcHUB, grow it to a stage, then move on to another thing that would allow you to continue to be able to follow your dream of impacting society positively. Because I've seen a lot of the people I worked with, and I saw they were in almost limbo in a way to being able to move on. Most founders, people take the thinking from the private world into the social and entrepreneurship space, which I think is not necessarily the same. It's not necessarily the same. And you'll find that most social entrepreneurs who founded something significant, and I've seen this on the continent, there's always that point where they're looking for a bigger platform to be able to continue to pursue their dreams. And finding that bigger platform on the African continent is not given. So I always say to people, one of the things I'm grateful for from last year is actually the opportunity to move from CcHUB to becoming a minister, because working as a minister provides a big platform for you to continue to drive the objectives. And it's not something that is given. So my case is not an easy model, because there's so many people that love to be a minister, but you never can be sure that it's something that will come to you. So I think to those who are listening, I think there's still some work that we need to do as a community. I throw this back as a challenge to even Luminate, to saying there's some work we need to do to continue to support the community of social entrepreneurs beyond that initial opportunity, because we talk to them a lot about succession planning. Because I hear even Luminate used to encourage us about succession planning. But it's tough for people to be able to move to the next thing.
So, Honourable Minister, what I hear you saying is that there's room not just for African governments, but those who support these spaces to enable social innovators to be elevated even more.
Absolutely. I think for African governments, actually, the opportunity is that they need to start to look within the social innovators communities for talent to run government. Because these are people that, regardless of appointments, were already committed to a better society through the work they do. So I think by natural progression, I think government should actually be where those opportunities should be, and it should be their decision to say, no, I don't want to go into government, because government is truly about serving the society. And most of what we do as social entrepreneurs, we do them sometimes because of the gaps that exist in society. So if this talent is there, they should automatically, it should be a pipeline for government to find amazing people. And government needs to take that work. But the founders of those who fund social entrepreneurship, I think there's a need to be aware that transition is a pain for so many people. And I challenge most founders to look into their portfolios and see the people they funded and ask themselves the question, are these people happy with what they're doing next?
Absolutely. Honourable Minister, it also sounds like there's an opportunity for you to write a book about it.
So we said we were going to do research, and the research was going to inform the book. That was actually what what we plan. We do research, we do series of podcasts where social entrepreneurs can talk about their experience and how they've been able to transition. And I've also seen with colleagues, even in Nigeria, that who've tried to join the government and they've had big pushback. And I did as well. I was penalized, punished for being a social entrepreneur. All my previous tweets were printed and shared with the Senate. When I was doing my screening, I was almost not going to get the position because I was an active citizen. I was very vocal about my opinion about how things were being managed in my country and how I wanted a better society. And we've seen a few cases of people like myself who tried to join the government and they were pushed out because of their work. So there's so much that I think needs to be done within the social entrepreneurship, civil society space, where we support these active citizens, these social entrepreneurs, to be able to continue to add value to society beyond the organizations they've founded. And when they choose they want to go into government, that we're actually there for them. Because in my case, I felt alone. I felt abandoned. There were even meetings of CSOs where positions were taken not to support me when I was being attacked. There's a well-known CSOs in this country who took the decision because supporting me would imply they're validating the government. And at the time, the election result was still in court. So I was abandoned to face this painful ordeal, on my own. You think of so many other people out there. I think it's happened to Seun Onigmide, who also founded Budget as well, where he was appointed, he was kicked out by the party because they thought he was too vocal about their previous activities and it shouldn't work in the government that they lead. I think it's an interesting conversation that we must not lose sight of.
Do you think then it is time for an African conversation amongst African governments on how we can take center stage and be part of the global development around AI technology?
That was 2 years ago, so probably even 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So I think it's long overdue. I think we're late to the game, so we need to approach this with a strong sense of urgency, where it's 6 months. If you're not doing anything serious by AI in 6 months, you will regret it. That's what I would say. Because the projection is that certain development in AI is also maturing as well. So the world expects to start seeing some applications that you need a sophisticated governance system and understanding at the level of government to be able to protect society in probably about 12, 18 months. That's why there's been a lot of gathering on safety governance in the last couple of months. So yeah, I think it's about now. We need to get our act together and come together to start.
As we speak about public goods and services, is there room for the Nigerian government and other African governments to leverage technology and AI to increase public participation and engagement?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think in government, even when you look at within government itself, there's so much that we do that AI can help us automate. There's so much that we do that AI can learn from. There's so much that government has done historically that artificial intelligence can literally help you learn from. And in the process of learning, we can make government a lot more nimble and cost-effective and ensure that the focus is on serving the people. And some aspect of that is also in better understanding our people, right? AI can help us to better understand the pain of our people. What are they saying? What are they complaining about? What can we learn from the pattern of the complaint? And how can that lesson inspire the way we serve them as well? So I think this says there's significant opportunity to use artificial intelligence to reduce waste in government, but to also empower government to be a lot more efficient.
On a light note,
Yes.
Dr. Tijani, has power changed you? You go from being known in some sectors to all of a sudden a gazillion bodyguards, change in title, change in how vehicles pass.
I think that's something I try to protect on a daily basis. For me, I don't see it that way. I see my current position as an opportunity to just do more of what I've always been doing. Does it have the potential to change you? I think so. But that's something I'm conscious of. I reduce my fleet of cars, for instance. When I came in, I said I didn't need as many as I had. There are places I go, I still carry my own bags. When I travel abroad, I don't use my allowance. I only go mostly with one person, so I limit the allowance. I've done a few travels. When I traveled to Nairobi, for instance, I traveled there alone. So I didn't have anyone traveling with me. So I think I'm conscious of, and sometimes as well, when you're outside, you see all those things and you think they're just wasteful. But also being inside, I'm learning that there are reasons why they're there, right? If you can find a way to take the risk and not use them for your own sake, well, that's good. But for me, I don't see it as an opportunity to say those who take them because they are wasteful. I don't think so, because it depends on your country. There are certain countries where you don't need a fleet of cars to move around. You can use the underground, for instance. They have the reasons why that's the case. And there are certain countries where there's a formation to how you move. As a private citizens, you can't understand that formation and what those cars are doing where they are at any time. You just see multiple cars, but each of those cars have the reasons
different role. You've been listening to Talk to Me Direct. Follow and subscribe on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.